Hey, this is Eric Gardner, and this is my podcast. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to be recording some personal stuff here and some interviews that might be kind of interesting. So if you like it, subscribe, get notified, and listen and learn a lot. What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast number 7, and today is Friday. What's the date? Friday, March 18th. So lots happened this week. As you're aware, the Fed did raise interest rates. But before we dive into that, I just got to say I'm excited for spring. So it's end of March, and Utah in March, it can either snow or it can be 60 degrees. So it kind of goes in between. But this week I've been riding my bike a bunch outside, and it's been great. It's been a little chilly because we still have snow on the ground, but it's getting me really excited for spring. But before that happens, me and the family, we're going to Steamboat Springs to ski. So we have the Icon Pass, so that's included. So we just drive over there for a quick weekend and explore that resort. And it's a lot of fun. We last year was the first time we ever did that, and we enjoyed it. Enjoyed it enough that we're going back. But kind of excited for spring here. We need the water. We need more water, obviously, because we've been in a perpetual drought forever, it seems. So 1 or 2 more snowstorms would be great, and then let's just go up to 50, 60 degrees and for the rest of the year. That'd be great. But back to the interest rates. So this last Tuesday or Wednesday, the Fed increased the Fed funds rate 0.25%, so 0.25%. So what does that mean? When the Fed raises the Fed funds rate, most rates across the country or across the banking industry, they follow. That is the Fed funds rate is the overnight borrowing rate that banks use. And in the housing industry, with me being a realtor and working with people buying homes, that immediately affects the mortgage interest rate. And as of today, I just spoke to my lender. She was seeing 4.5% today. So, and that fluctuates up and down, not directly correlated to the Fed funds rate, but depending on expectations of the market, that can go up or down. So it'll probably dip a little bit, maybe it'll go a bit higher. But now we're seeing 4% to 4.5% constantly. So be aware of that. We haven't seen rates like that since 2019, which makes sense because when the coronavirus pandemic started, March of 2020, that's when the Fed immediately dropped interest rates. So, these are kind of where things have been, pre-pandemic. So it's nothing new. 4.5% is a normal interest rate. It's not what you're going to see from 2021 when everyone was refinancing for 3%, but it's still a great interest rate. So remember that. One thing that's really good is they raise these interest rates to head off inflation. As you probably heard on the news, maybe on this podcast previously, inflation peaked out around 7%, and that's bad. The Fed wants to keep inflation at 2%, typically year over year. But when it's at 7%, that means our cost of goods, the CPI basket of goods, is going up. So food, gasoline, consumer goods, things like that. They have this basket of goods that they track, and it has gone up 7%. And so the way they stop that, raise interest rates, slow down spending, cool down the economy. The economy is too hot right now. So Wall Street, they've been happy with this, 0.25% increase. They were kind of expecting it. The Fed kind of drops clues so they can price it into Wall Street. But the last 3 or 4 days, stocks have been doing great. They're in the green, and obviously a lot of U.S. company fundamentals are pretty good, so that probably factors into where Wall Street's going. But Wall Street works on expectations. So knowing that the Fed is getting aggressive with interest rates gives them hope that inflation is going to start getting taken down. So that's why Wall Street's up, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy that we're stomping out inflation. I'm happy interest rates are still at a good place for my buyers, for my clients that need to buy a home, because 4.5% is still a great interest rate, like I've mentioned. But it's good to think on the positive and know that if you are buying a home, you're still getting a great interest rate. And it's good to think that, yes, inflation is going to eventually disappear. Originally, the Fed, they've been talking about they're going to raise it a few more times, which is probably a good idea. But So if you're looking to lock in a mortgage, sooner is probably the better. Just speak to a great lender and make sure they help you and advise you where and when to do that, depending on what your needs are. Next, wow, I might have mentioned this contract we wrote in Roy. With that contract, there were 6 offers that we were competing against, and we ended up getting it. The actual listing agent called me while they were with their seller to, just dial in our offer perfectly so we could get it. Because they liked our offer. I had been over-communicating, like I've said, over-communicate with the agent at all times. And we got it, and that appraisal just came in because we did guarantee some cash over appraisal, which is pretty common right now. And the appraisal came in. So that was so exciting to hear from our lender. My clients were super excited. So that's a super positive thing today for Friday to end out this week. Just knowing that as a buyer, you don't have to come out of pocket a little bit extra cash to purchase a home. It's one of those things right now when you write an offer as a buyer, you worry about it. It's extra money, extra cash out of your pocket that you can't finance. And so you worry about it. But when the appraisal comes in good, which a lot of times they have been recently because appraisers are following the market very closely. And so when a house appraises good, everyone's happy. So when you're writing offers, I think about this for future buyers. If you're writing an offer, obviously listen to a professional, but don't be afraid to go a little bit over appraisal because in this current environment, things are typically appraising. So stay confident, stay positive, and I think it'll work out for you. Oh man. And then I got this other topic that actually came up. So a lot of people think like as a real estate agent, my job, some people say open doors, but as a real estate agent, really I'm here to, help you negotiate the best deal possible for your home when you buy it or sell it. But some people, think that that's it. Once that real estate transaction closes, we don't need to talk anymore. And I'm here to get rid of that idea because I'm your lifelong friend or resource. If something needs to be done in your house, I probably know someone who can do it. I tour houses every day and I know contractors for everything. So I always gotta remind people, and one of the Kaysville homes that we sold last month, he texted me 2 weeks ago, hey, I need a carpet guy. And I sent him the guy that does all my carpet for me. And so just remember that, you just got to remember that the relationship doesn't stop at the closing table. That whether it's 1 day, 1 month, or 1 year after, I'm here as a resource for you for whatever you need. So stay in contact. I'm going to do my best to stay in touch, but ask me anything. I'm always available to help with those things. In fact, I've had 2 clients recently reach out. So they both live in Utah. We've done, one of them I've helped with 2 transactions, a buy and a sell. Another one I just helped them buy. But they're both looking for investment properties. And they're kind of, some of them are, one's looking for like a certain market, another one's looking for a place where they're going to move eventually. And they reached out to me, and I can help with that too. I am part of a network of agents across the country that I trust, that do a good job. And so I put both of those people into contact with those agents in those markets. So, even for stuff like that, I probably know someone, I'm probably part of a group or an organization that can serve you in the future for how you need it. And then aside from that, I did today's Friday, it was last Monday or Tuesday, I had this appointment. So working on the bike race, I step out of my comfort zone a ton. Working on the bike race, I step out of my comfort zone a ton. And I've really been stretching my boundaries. With real estate, it's all pretty automatic. Been doing it for a long time. But doing sponsorship proposals, that's not something I'm super great at. I'm not super comfortable at. Running these certain types of meetings for the bike race. We had one today for the team. But last Monday, I had a sponsorship meeting with a potential sponsor. And I have not been that nervous for probably 5 years at least. It was nerve-wracking. It blew my mind. And I don't get nervous very often. I've done plenty of stupid or crazy things or intimidating things, So it's not like new things necessarily scare me, but I guess just presenting to these people about, why they should sponsor a bike race, it just intimidated me for some reason. But it went really well. I'm a very honest person, so I put my cards on the table, and they liked what they saw, and they actually got on board for the bike race. So I'm super excited for that. There's some rad things coming down the pipeline for that with the new course at Industry, which is in downtown Salt Lake in the Granary District. It's a really great course. Industry has a ton of cool things, like this big VIP deck that's going to be awesome for the race. So we're getting all that sort of stuff worked out, but it just reminded me that don't be afraid of new things. Just prepare and go into them head on, and usually you're going to do your best. If you prepare pretty well and you go in confident and you work hard and just be honest and work hard, it's usually going to work out. And that's something I have to remind myself of constantly, because I am always stretching everywhere. It's insane how busy I feel most of the time. But that was kind of some of the stuff I wanted to go over. But aside from that, things are going pretty well in Utah. The market's still humming along. We still don't have enough listings, like I've mentioned. So I actually interviewed with a seller yesterday for a new listing in Centerville, because family moved out. They live in Texas, so they're finally going to get it on the market. It went super well. Probably get that listed next week. It's a beautiful home. Great price. I think we priced it around just over $500,000. But like I've said before, it's a special market because we don't have enough listings. So with this one being a new listing where they're not going to be buying a home also, that's super positive for the Utah market. Overall, it brings one more piece of supply or one more home on the market for a Utah family to move into and live long term. And I know that might be like a very micro case, but multiply that by 1,000 or by 2,000, and you have an actual efficient market when it comes to buying and selling homes. And that's what I think about with every listing. It's like, how does this help the overall market so that we stop having this craziness of waiving everything or going over appraisal all the time. Like, I like an efficient market that's balanced, that just works for everyone, that no one can get burned in. Because, like I said, with interest rates rising, they did that to cool down the growth of our economy, because we went so, fast into a low interest rate environment, tons of money coming out from the Fed during the pandemic, that it just heated up our economy way too much. And now we're going to tighten that down. So a balanced economy, just like the Fed wants a balanced economy, so do I in the real estate market. And that's important. So that's all I got for today. I'm just happy that you guys are along for the ride. And as always, if you have any questions or want to chat about anything, put it in the comments below. Go to my website, heyeric.com, get the seller's report there if you have questions about selling your home. And until next time, thanks.